TVEC, and happy Friday to you all. I hope you guys are having a good Friday and looking forward to the weekend. One thing I wanted to let you guys know before we go into TVECs is that there's lots of stuff in the Lost and Found. I know you've seen the advertisements. I know that you pass it every day, but if you lost something, please check out the Lost and Found. All the coats are up there on the hallway going into the cafeteria, but it's got to be somebody's. So if it's yours, please make sure you grab it. All right, now into the TVECs. We're going to start with Liliana Dominguez in Mrs. King's class. Liliana has been afraid when the fire drill bells ring, and I totally get that. They're so loud. But she's worked hard, but has overcome the fear. She's able to walk out by herself bravely, and Mrs. King says she's so proud of her overcoming that fear. So Liliana, TVEC to you. Blake Grabiak in Miss McConn's class. Blake has been setting goals for himself to stay more focused, which has been helping him show effort in completing his work. That's awesome, Blake. Setting goals is really important, so I'm proud of you for doing that. So that's a TVEC for you. Noah Sawinski, Miss McConn's class. Noah has been doing a good job trying to remember to complete his routine. So that's also important to make sure that we got our routine set so we can get into the work in the classroom. So there you go, Noah, TVEC for you. Sienna Foster, and this is in Miss Rodoloni's class. Sienna's in Mrs. Rodoloni, and it's from Mrs. Churlin. Says, thank you for being an amazing, caring big sister. We are so lucky to have you down the hall when your bro needs a little extra love. Thank you for always being kind and checking in. So Sienna, thanks for taking care of your brother. That's awesome. TVEC for you. Wyatt Garris in DeWolf's class. While leading our line, Wyatt said, excuse us, to another student walking on the same side of the stairs. That's really polite. I'm proud of you, Wyatt. There's a TVEC for you. Harrison Mujecki in Mrs. DeWolf's class. Harrison has been really trying his best to complete all his work in the classroom and always is finishing it to the best of his ability. So that's great, Harrison. That's a TVEC for you. Great work. Samir Foster in Mr. Wolf's class. Samir is a reading machine. He has worked so hard and shows. I'm so proud of you, Samir. TVEC for you. We have Griffin Rarig in Miss Burns' class for being a kind friend to his classmates. Griffin, that's awesome. Love to hear the kindness. TVEC for you. Wyatt DeFrank in Miss Beaton's class, being a good role model for his peers by walking through the hallway safely and appropriately when he's not escorted by a teacher. That is a great job being responsible. So that is a TVEC for you, Wyatt. Zachary Stevens, Mrs. Churlin's class, has demonstrated an awesome interest in reading challenging text. He has been independently reading Ichabod and sharing about his new favorite book with teachers and even Mr. Sell. Way to grow, Zach. Awesome. And you've done a great job, Zach. Keep up the good work. TVEC for you. Allie Stacy in Mrs. Abaduski's class. Allie has been working very hard in class. She's participating in whole group instruction and completing her work on time, raising her hand, answering questions, and keep up that good work, Allie. Great job, Allie. TVEC for you. Zach Phillips in Mrs. Abaduski. Zach always enters the classroom with a smile. He follows the morning routine without any reminders, gets right to work on his seat work. He answers questions, completes his classwork. He's super excited when it's time for math. Good job, Zach, and I agree. That's a TVEC for you. Grayson Fleck and Mrs. Berger. Grayson has been very kind and helped students who needed help in mathematics. Grayson, TVEC for you. Mason Baldock, Mrs. Berger. Very respectful and waited for a peer. So it's always good to be respectful and kind. Mason, that's a TVEC for you. All right, I do have a few more here. Colin Hollyshak, Mrs. Churlin. Colin hit a home run with his poem about baseball. Oh, that was a good little, that's not alliteration. Forget what that is. But he hit a home run with his poem. He had great use of figurative language, especially onomatopoeia. Wow, what a word. Maybe, Colin, you can tell me what that means. All right, TVEC for you. Jaylyn Moore King in Mrs. Churlin's class has been growing like a beanstalk, making responsible, smart, kind choices in our classroom recess. Way to grow, Jaylyn. Proud of you. Zachary, Charlotte, and Levi, Mrs. Ace and Pierce class for always doing great work at their red table. 1, 2, 3 TVECs for Zach, Charlotte, and Levi in Mrs. A's class. We have Auden Lammy from Mrs. Clemmer in the library. Auden is always smiling in the library, does his job, and he's the most patient kindergartner I've ever met. Let's see, where was I? Oh, thank you, and I enjoyed teaching you, Auden. From Mrs. Clemmer, TVEC for you. Oh, we got a double winner. Liliana Dominguez again. She showed extreme kindness when a classmate was sad with just the right words. A double TVEC winner. That's awesome. Congratulations to Liliana. We have Akila, Viviana in Mrs. Gruen's class. Both girls helped their neighbors clean out, organize their desks. TVECs for you guys. And we have Dylan Batman, Mrs. Gruen, extremely happy to be at school every day. He's focused, really working hard during reading groups. Dylan, proud of you. TVEC to you. And Cole Messer from Mrs. Lonsdale. On our field trip to Chocolate World, this was just yesterday, Cole did a great job listening to his chaperone and following directions. He was also very helpful and a great role model. That is great to hear. It's always good to do a great job, especially when outside school and represent TVEC well. So good job, Cole. So hope you guys have a really great weekend. I want to let you know that I'm proud of everyone. Keep doing a good job. This is one of the hardest times of year. Because we haven't had a break for a little while. So keep up the good work, keep up the kindness, keep thinking about others and making good choices. And remember to treat yourself well and always be kind to others. All right, guys, happy weekend.